And Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member, I just wanted to give a little bit of a shout out to Mr. Peterson and the Las Virgenes Water District. They have been recycling water since 1972, and I consider them one of California's pioneers. So thank you for all of your good work. I had 3 questions, and I think Mr. Lowenthal really asked the first one, but I do want to comment, and I heard Mr. Levine's response to Mr. Lowenthal's question as well. But I think this notion of an extension of 5 years to 10 years for the MPDES permit is an interesting idea, and I think it's worth exploring to see if we can find a happy medium here in a win-win process, understanding that not every situation is exactly the same across the country. So I certainly would encourage continuing that conversation. The second question that I have goes back to recycled water. And Mr. Pedersen, you had mentioned in your testimony, you talked about a new project in your district with the Triunfo Sanitation District that would create up to, I think, 5,000 acre-feet of drought-resistant water supplies. So I wanted to ask you, in putting together the financing package for this, can you tell us which federal programs you found to be most helpful, and whether you have any suggestions for Congress on how to augment or improve those programs to help spur more of these types of projects?
Sure. Thank you, Congresswoman. The project that you're referring to is our Pure Water Project. It will ultimately develop 5,000 acre-feet of new drought-resilient water through reservoir augmentation. It's one of only 3 projects of its type in California. Certainly, we have built up some reserves to the tune of about $20 million locally to pay for that project, recognizing that local monies need to be dedicated to these projects. But in terms of the federal framework for infrastructure financing, the SRF program is essential and very important to us. Granted, it's a loan program, but the low-interest loan provides great value to us and the ability to finance those improvements, which are about $100 million for an agency that is relatively small, a rate base of about 20,000 customers, or combined with our partner Triunfo Sanitation District, about 35,000 customers. The WIFIA program that was recently initiated is a fantastic program. We were one of 40-some applicants that submitted a letter of interest. There were many CASA and AQUA members who were invited back to submit full applications, and we think that's a valuable program and will be helpful. And then, of course, the Bureau of Reclamation Title 16 program and a variety of research programs and programs for demonstration projects are very helpful for projects of this type. We really think water recycling is really the future for resiliency in California, along with other local projects.
Thank you very much, and I will just add that in this particular water district, there is no local water source at all, and now Las Virgenes actually provides 20% of the region's demand with recycled water. The other question, Mr. Patterson, I wanted to ask too is, in WRDA 2014, our committee requested a report on the Clean Water State Revolving Fund allocation formulas. The report was just finalized earlier this year, and can you comment on the report and the recommendations in it?
Yes, absolutely. So the report, this was a report requested by the subcommittee. It's included as an exhibit to my written testimony. An excellent report prepared by the U.S. EPA. It's an impartial report that uses data to analyze the distribution of federal SRF funds to states. And what the report essentially found, in short, is that those formulas are dated and that they require updating. And the main reason is that those formulas were established based on 1987 data, both for population and demographics of all the states, and also the clean water needs of those states. And we know both of those issues, both of those figures have changed dramatically in that time. And there's really a need to take a look at updating that. The report includes a number of options, and any one of those options would be a big step forward, and we would encourage the subcommittee to take a look at that report and to work with the EPA on bringing forward those recommendations for action.
Can I speak very quickly to 2 of your questions?
Yes, please.
On the 10-year extensions, I won't rehash the the concerns I raised earlier, but I do believe that they're very valid. The underlying issue, it seems, of the reasons that this 10-year extension and the integrated planning issue are being raised is a desire for flexibility in prioritizing and recognizing the time that it takes to implement expensive capital improvements, right? And that general principle is not something that I think is controversial, right? We've had, there's a letter submitted, signed not only by NRDC, but by a number of other environmental organizations before this hearing, pointing out the values, the virtues of integrated planning as per EPA's framework that was issued a few years ago. As far as the role of Congress and this committee, what's important, I think, to understand is that the existing Clean Water Act provides that flexibility, and the EPA framework document lays that out. The issue of the length of compliance schedules is something that Congress has asked the National Academy of Public Administration to look into the financial capability assessment guidance that EPA has that governs negotiations around those compliance schedules. The Academy is due out with that study this month. Right, that provides an opportunity for EPA to consider those findings and revisit the guidance. And on WRDA and recycled water, I'll just point out, and it's mentioned in my testimony, Congress in 2014 inserted provisions requiring that Clean Water SRF-funded projects use to the maximum extent that they can in a cost-effective way water reuse, water efficiency. It's not being implemented particularly well, and I urge the committee to support EPA, push EPA to implement that better.
Thank you, and my time is up. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. And